recording here. Boop. There we go. Let me just check one more time. Yeah. Cool. Hey, Tyson, welcome. Good to see you here as well. All right. Get you in my attendance. Where are you? There you are. All right, and I think you are registered as well. Yes. All right. Well, good job for having already registered, everyone. Thank you. That makes it much, much easier. So again, to hear, I put the code in the chat. If you're able to register, go ahead and do that now. Let me know when you do, and then I can assign you. All right, but the rest of us, really good job. So let me get my screen share going here. Welcome again. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. All right, good to see you all. We are going to get started today with some of the kind of basic background info for our project on Summit. So I have a PowerPoint with some kind of questions and activities we're going to go through. And then when we meet again on Tuesday, we'll start diving into the work for the first checkpoint. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and get this going. So this is going to be a lot of like kind of discussion questions today, like coming up with lists about stuff. So feel free to put your answers in the chat or come off mute if you want to answer that way. But I do encourage you all to try and engage, participate, because the more you guys put in, the quicker and the more we'll get out of this kind of activity. All right. If no one's answering anything, then it's going to be pretty slow going, which of course we know nobody wants. All right. So just a general reminder to kind of help me help you. All right. So here we go. So this is the name of our project on Summit. If you've already registered and have it pulled up, you will see that as well. What is love? And here are some lyrics from a very famous song from the 90s that many of you probably don't know, but that's okay. If you've ever seen that movie Night at the Roxbury with Will Ferrell, that's the kind of song they sing in the car. Just a fun little joke to get us started here. But the first thing I want you to do is this. Again, you can put this in the chat. I want you to take a few minutes. I want you to write down anything and everything that comes to mind when you think of the word love. Okay? So again, you can do this in the chat. If you want to enter them as they come to you, if you want to write down everything and then put it all into the chat at once, that's fine too.
My phone died.
No worries, Unique. We got you.
And my computer not working because I don't got Wi-Fi.
Oh, man. Well,
we told Miss Shamika.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to get your phone back hooked up at least to sign in. So no worries. We're not going to do anything that you need your computer for today. So we should be all right. So
write down anything and everything that comes to mind.
Yeah. So if you're able to, I think you can still do this on your phone. If you're able to put this into the chat and write this stuff down and put it in the chat, that is, try to do it that way first.
Okay.
If not, maybe we can answer.
So you want me to write down anything and everything that comes to mind when I think of the word love?
I do, yes. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Again, my computer is not working, so how am I going to be able to do that?
So if you're able to, I think you can still use the chat function if you're joining on your phone.
I'm about to write it in the chat.
Oh, there you go. Then you're good. All right, very cool. And the rest of us, please be doing the same thing. I'm going to check the chat right now to see if we got anything in there so far. All right, we got a couple. Gianni says marriage. Ahmad says a word. It is indeed a word. But what else? Anything and everything that comes to mind. Again, put it in the chat. You can put it all in at once. You can put as many things that come to mind as they come. But let's take another minute or two and do this. So there can be, you can have more than one answer here. So when you hear the word love, what do you think of? Put it in the chat for me, please. I'll give everybody maybe another minute to put some of this stuff in the chat. We're going to be using the chat a lot today for a lot of these questions. So just keep that in mind. All right. Welcome, Shmir. Good morning. All right. Those of you who are just joining us, you can put your answers in the chat to this prompt. We got a few in there already, which is good. Write down anything, everything that comes to mind when you think of the word love. All right.
Mr. What's your name?
Mr. V.
Mr. V, did you get mine?
I did see yours unique. Yes, thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
Give everybody about another minute here to write down anything else. Again, you can have more than one answer. There's no right or wrong here. I just want to see, when you hear the word love, what do you think of? What comes to mind? I want to see if we can get something from everybody in the chat if we can. And we got some stuff in there from a few of us already. So take about another like 30 seconds here, and then we'll see what we have come up with. All right, so let's see what we have in the chat here. Okay, we get a few. So Gianni says marriage. Mod says word, fake, unreal. Unique said, I really don't like to hear the word if it's not genuine. Okay, so that seems to be kind of a common factor here. And again, if anybody else has any thoughts, Kira, um, Shad, Tyseem, feel free to put yours in the chat as well. But no, Ahmad, yours were interesting because you said like unreal, fake. Can you explain a little bit what you mean, like why you put those words in there? You can do it either in the chat or if you want to come off mute, whatever's easiest. But I assume what you mean is when you think about love. Oh, I said, can you explain what you mean by like, because you said unreal or fake? Like, why do those words come to mind right away when we think about this word love? I'm just curious because those are some interesting ones. Okay, yeah. So I think, and getting backstabbed and unique was kind of mentioning, I don't want to hear it if it's not genuine. So that seems to be kind of a common theme here with our answers, right? Is when we think about love, we think maybe we're a little bit guarded because we know we've experienced, getting backstabbed or, love that's not real in the past. So we kind of have that that wall up, right? Which, that's sometimes what our experiences lead us to think about right away when we hear a certain word, right? Just like, if you eat a food that made you sick one time, when you hear somebody mention that food, you're not going to be like, oh, I can't wait to eat that food. You're going to remember that time it got you sick and you're going to be like, I don't know. So it's kind of the same concept, right? But at the same time, we also have like Gianni mentioning marriage. And so some of the kind of more romantic aspects of love. If I were answering this, that's probably where I would go right away. I would think about, um, like marriage or family, especially. Um, Family would be a big one for me, and even friends too, that kind of stuff. But we notice here how we have kind of a lot of similar thoughts with kind of some of the answers that came into the chat. So keep that stuff in mind. Anything else? Any other thoughts that come to mind when we hear the word love from anybody we haven't heard from yet? Right. These are good though.
Love is a strong word.
It is a very strong word. Unique. Why do you think it's such a strong word? What do you mean by that?
Because if you don't love a person, don't say you love them.
Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those words where there's a lot attached to it, right? So if we're using it, we should be very intentional about it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Say it one more time.
I said I think what you're saying is love, the word love has a lot attached to it. So if you use it,
Yes.
you should be
Yes.
intentional about it, meaning like you really
Right.
mean you're not just using it to use it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Okay. And that's what we're going to kind of be thinking about as we go through this project and we read some of the two short stories. Here's our next prompt I want us to think about. And again, you can use the chat for this as well. We talked a little bit about love songs last class when we were kind of going over our intro. So now speaking of kind of getting backstabbed, love not being real, that kind of thing, this is our next question. Our breakup or heartbreak songs, love songs. We consider those love songs. The last class we talked about, our
I
favorite
need
love
you to help me, huh?
songs, and we shared some of those. When we think about love songs, do we include breakup or
What's
heartbreak?
wrong? I make an essay about.
What do you guys think?
No, what the lady. The same thing I think I did. Would you say, would you say, Mr. V?
So we're thinking about this question that I have up here now. Are breakup or heartbreak songs, are those technically love songs or is it kind of a different category? What do you think? This is
Love
just
song.
everybody, not just unique.
The love songs about heartbreaks.
Okay. So they are love songs. It's just about a different part of love. I'm with that. I can get with that. Anybody else with any thoughts on this?
Or a love song about a breakup.
Right. I agree. What else do we think? Anybody else with answers in the chat? Gianni says love songs talk more about them being heartbroken than actually being loved. So Gianni, do you mean in the majority of love songs, most of them are actually about being
Love
heartbroken or
songs talk
sad rather than
about
like actually being in love?
love.
Already fall in love.
Yeah, like they be talking about how like what the person did to them and stuff. Like they don't talk about them actually being in love with people or actual love.
So you're saying there's more songs about the sad part than there are about actually like being happy and in love, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would probably tend to agree. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's easier to write about like being happy and in love, or easier to write about, oh, I'm sad that person dumped me and stuff like that? Which one do you think is easier to write about?
I think people find it easier to talk about the sad part.
I think you're definitely right, because those are a little bit stronger emotions, so I think we can express them a little bit easier. I mean, because I write songs myself too, and you always find that it's always harder to write a happier song, even just happier sounding, than it is to write kind of a sadder sounding song or stuff about sadder stuff. And why that is, maybe we'll never definitively know, but I think you're definitely onto it, that maybe it's a little bit easier to express kind of those emotions. So I think we've said we can indeed consider breakup songs love songs. Really good job. Thank you. All right. Now, here's the next thing we're going to use the chat for, right? And then we have one or two more things to do after this, and then we're good. All right. So what I want you to do now in the chat, we'll give you a little bit longer because this one might take a little bit. Write down every and any song lyric, book, movie, or a TV show that makes you think of love. Now, if you can only think of one or two, that's totally fine. I know I'm kind of putting everybody on the spot here, but again, in the chat, I want you to kind of write down all the ones you can think of for this question. A song lyric, a book, a movie, a TV show that makes you think of love, right? As you're trying to figure some of these out, think about stuff we've already talked about so far today. All right, getting heartbroken, breaking up, being sad. What are some songs or movies or TV shows that kind of talk about that stuff? Or it could go the opposite way, and it could be like, the happy romantic side of love. You can think about those ones too. But as many as you can think of, put them in the chat now. All right, we'll give everybody about 5 minutes for this, because this will be a little bit of a longer list. So go ahead, see what you can come up with now. Put it in the chat, please.
I don't got no book or movie or TV show. I just got songs.
That's fine. If you can only think of one of these, like, that's fine. Just put that one in the chat. If you can think of a couple of these, then put those in the chat. As many
Can I just tell you?
as you can think of. Try and put it in the chat if you can, so that way we can see what everybody's putting in there.
Okay.
Right. So take about 2 or 3 more minutes here. See if you can keep coming up with some stuff. Again, songs, song lyrics, books, movies, TV shows that make you think of love. All right, about another minute. Just checking see what we got in the chat so far. We got a bunch. Awesome. Mod Walker killing it today. Thank you very much. All right, so about another 30 seconds. Keep these coming. Really good job. All right, let's see what we have here. Good job, Legends, putting this in the chat today. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Did you get mine?
I did, Unique. Thank you. So, Unique says something in common. Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston, which is a good one. Ahmad said the movie Scarface, which is an interesting one when we think about love, but I like how you explained it because you said Tony Montana, who's the main character, played by Al Pacino, loved his brother, but his brother marries Tony's sister behind his back, and that made Tony kill his brother. That's why love is fake to me. Tony warns his brother before to stay away from his. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Stay away from his sister, but the brother broke their brotherly love because he married Tony's sister. So I'll just clarify, when you say brother, you're talking about they're just like close friends, but they're like brothers. But his friend marries his actual sister, and that's where kind of the betrayal and the backstabbing comes in. So it's kind of like their, brotherly love was fake because he really didn't respect it by marrying his sister, even though Tony told him to stay away, which is pretty spot on. So, that makes sense as to why when we think of love, we might think of it being fake or unreal. Yeah, it's his friend before they got out of prison. That's right. I haven't seen it in a very long time. Gianni said Broken Hearted Girl by Beyonce, Love and Basketball, that's a classic movie. Very, very good choice, Gianni. A lot of my movies keep coming up in my head, but I can't name them. That's okay. Trust Can Get You Killed, Love Get You Hurt. Definitely. These are all really, really good ones. And so again, think about, how our own experiences, dictate the stuff we're putting in here. So if your own experience, has tended to be more kind of on the negative side, we're thinking of, movies or songs or whatever that showcase that, like getting hurt, getting backstabbed, things like that. If you have an experience that's more on the positive side, maybe you're thinking about more kind of positive movies, songs, TV shows. Like for some of mine, I would put in Like I can think of the movie Love Actually, the like Christmas movie that comes to mind. I can think of this lyric by Led Zeppelin. I'll put it in the chat right now. So that would be a lyric that comes to mind. So a couple of those. But again, like I said, everybody's different because our experiences kind of dictate, what we think of here. All right. So now here is the last thing we are going to do for second to last, I should say, because we have one kind of like exit ticket question. But second to last thing we're going to do for today. But you guys are doing a great job. I appreciate you guys all responding in the chat. I appreciate it. All right. We're going to do a little bit of kind of lyric association. Okay. So there's going to be about 4 or 5 slides coming up. Right. On each slide, there will be one word. What I want you to do is for each word in the chat, come up with any song lyrics, song title, a book or a movie title that you can think of that has that word in it. If you can come up with more than one, great. If you can only think of one, that's totally fine. All right. And again, keep in mind if there's ones that other people are saying as well, if we have ones in common, is our experience, kind of driving the ones we're coming up with or thinking of right away. So for example, if the word on the slide is purple, somebody might write down Purple Rain by Prince, The Color Purple by Alice Walker, which is a book, Crazy Shade of Purple by Diplo, right? Purple Toupee, Purple Lamborghini, right? A bunch of different songs, right? If you don't remember the artist or the author, that's totally fine. As long as you have something with that word in it that comes to mind, okay? Makes sense?
Mr. V.
What's up, Unique?
So what do you want us to do?
So that's a great question. I think we'll answer it by just starting with the first one. So I'm going to put a slide up like I have shared on my screen right now. Let me make sure I am sharing. Yes. Okay. So the word on the slide is love, right? So what I want you to do is kind of like what we did in the first one. Any song or movie or book or TV show you can think of that has the word love in its title, I want you to put that in the chat, as many as you can. And if you can only think of 1 or 2, that's totally fine. And then we're going to do that same thing for a couple different words. Does that make more sense now? So for example, I'll put one in the chat for this first one to help you guys out. So if the word was love and I was answering this, maybe I would put the title of the song, What's Love Got to Do with It by Tina Turner. All right. And that's what I put in the chat. And Ahmad already put one in there. It's a thin line between love and hate. It's a song and a movie. Very good job. So you're going to kind of do the same thing. So I want to see these from the rest of us. So songs, song titles, song lyrics, movies, books, TV shows, as many as you can think of for each word that we put up here, starting with love. So we'll give everybody about a minute or so on each slide. So take a little bit longer with
Yo, V, I ain't gonna lie. I was doing something upstairs. What we doing, gang? Well, you explain to me by myself, but if you don't want to repeat it.
No, you're good, Tyseem. The rest of the stuff we did, you can catch on the class recording. What we're doing now is every slide I put up, it's going to have a word on, like this one says love. So what I want you to do in the chat is think of as many like song titles, song lyrics, books, movies, TV shows you can think of that has that word in it. So like I kind of did one as an example. If you look at the chat, I put, what's love got to do with it? That's a Tina Turner song. So it's a song that has love in the title. Maybe you think of a different one, or you think of a movie that has love in the title, anything like that. And then I'm going to put a couple different slides up with other words, and you're going to do the same thing for each one. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's give this one about 30 more seconds, those of you who have been following along, and then we'll jump to the next one. All right, I'm gonna check the chat, just make sure we're on the right track here. All right. Only got one from a mod in there, so don't be afraid to put these in the chat. You guys are doing a good job. Don't slag on me now. So let's jump to the next one. All right. See if this one is a little bit easier. So the next word is hurt. So any song, any movie, book, TV show that you can think of that has the word hurt in it, throw that in the chat. And I'll put one in for this one too. The first thing that came to mind for me for this one is a movie called The Hurt Locker, which is a movie about soldiers who have to kind of defuse bombs and mines and stuff during like the Iraq War. That's what came to mind for me first. But then I might think of something else as well, and I could put that in the chat. So as many as you can think of, put those in the chat now.
What do you want me to do, Mr. V?
So same thing we've been doing for the word on the slide. I want everybody to try and think of as many like songs or movies or TV shows or books that have that word in the title or in it somewhere. And then
The word
those-
hurt.
put those in the chat. Yeah. So the first one was love. This one is hurt. And then we're going to do about like one or two more after this one. So you can see I kind of put mine in the chat already as examples. So I said the first thing that came to mind for me was a movie called The Hurt Locker. But then maybe I'll think of something else that has hurt in it, and I can put that one in the chat too. So as many as you can think of, just go ahead, put them in there. Right. Give it about 30 more seconds, then we'll jump to the last one. All right, so here's the last one. The word is heart. So again, same thing. Any kind of book, movie, TV show, song, title, song lyric that has the word heart in it. As many as you can think of, throw them in the chat. This is the last one, and then we have one more thing to do to wrap up. As many as you can think of. I'm trying to think what mine would be for this one. I think the one that comes to mind for me for this one would be. Oh, we got a Rod Wave song in there. Thank you, Ahmad. How Can You Mend a Broken Heart by Al Green? That would be one for that one. Oh no, Rod Wave was from Unique. I apologize. And we have one from her. All right, awesome. 21 Savage, No Heart. Thank you, Ahmad. Awesome. All right, ladies and gents, let's kind of cap it there. Really good job. So here is our kind of reflection question to wrap up here that is open for everybody. All right. Why do we think there are so many songs, books, and movies or TV shows about love? We've talked about it a lot today. We've listed a bunch of ones that come to mind when we think about different things. So why do we think there's so much art out there about love? What do you think? Can anybody wrap this up a sense or two? You can put this in the chat. You can come off mute and share it verbally if that's easier. But what can we say about this to kind of wrap up here for today?
All right, so what do you want us to do?
Just what do you think about this question?
Why are so many songs, books,
Well, at least
and
you know if
movies,
there's any bitches
TV
yawn
shows
around.
about love?
So you can answer in the chat, or if you
He got a bitch though.
answer out loud, that's fine too. But what do you
You
think?
know a movie about love?
Well, I'm just making sure if you need me to beat a bitch up, I'm here.
I'm cracking the fuck up. Hey, yeah.
Why you cracking up?
She in school.
Let's just get
What you cracking up for?
Hey, yo.
that if our microphone is on and there are other people around us having
My
other
fault, V. I'm gonna be a professional vet to this school as I should.
That's a bad job.
Yeah, that's Saudi. I know that's Saudi. Y'all guys in the same class again. Y'all drawn. Y'all know y'all fucked up, right?
Alright, but why you was just laughing?
All right, we love you, Lee. Be safe, bro. Stay dangerous. 100%.
Stay dangerous. People be acting crazy out this room.
All right. Let's try and reel it back in a little bit before we leave here today and see if we can come up with an answer to this question. Again, you can put it in the chat or you can come off mute as long as there is no other background noise.
Stop listening to my conversation.
She didn't mean it. I was on the phone with somebody. Sorry, guys.
Okay,
Oh,
let's
fuck.
remember.
Fuck boy.
You in class.
Mr. V,
You
What's
cannot
up?
say that.
what do you want me to do?
I'm just waiting for anybody to give us an answer for this question, whether it's in the chat or off mute. Ahmad kind of already put some stuff in the chat. He said, love is human interaction, but the interaction can lead to different emotions, which is very deep and philosophical. Thank you, Ahmad. So maybe that's why we have so many of these things about love, because it can be depicted in so many different ways, right? We can have, more positive stuff where it's like romance, marriage, kind of like what Gianni was saying earlier, or maybe we can have the other side, kind of like Ahmad's example, like maybe heartbreak, backstab, people not being genuine, like Unique was saying. all kinds of different things, right? We can run the spectrum, right? So the reason we did all this stuff today is because I want us to keep all that in mind as we move through this project. And when we start again on Tuesday next week, when we meet again, we're going to start looking at some short stories that talk about love. We're going to read two, but they're both very different. But we'll see kind of what are the similarities in the way the authors talk about love, the kind of things they use to help present it, and so on and so forth. All right. Yeah, and unique to express it as well. Definitely, it's a great way to express those emotions, because maybe we can't, especially in the case of songs, right? Maybe we can't express what we're feeling by saying it, but if we put it to music, or we put it in a rap or in lyric form, then we can express it that way, right? I know I've definitely done that before. So all really good thoughts. Okay. Really good
Excuse
job
me,
today.
Mr. V. I'm sorry to interrupt. Unique one. She keep on asking what's funny. That's on her mind right now. What's funny that he was laughing. That's on her mind right now. Again, she has a brain injury, so when she's stuck on that, she's gonna be stuck on that.
No.
So-
I'm laughing at her, laughing at my man Saudi. Relax, chill.
Yeah.
I'm just saying when she's stuck on. I'm not with the aggressiveness. I'm coming to you calm. I was just asking a question.
I fuck
Yeah,
with
no,
you.
I appreciate it. I think we're just about done here anyway, so it's not a huge deal. I think there's a bunch of kind of background noise going on when people were off mute, and somebody was laughing at one thing. Maybe she thought they were laughing at another thing. I think it was just kind of that in general, just people laughing at what they were hearing on other people's microphones. So it's a good teachable moment to remember that if you are around somebody else who's in class and they are coming off mute to answer a question, everybody else can also hear what you're talking about, right? So let's just remember that and be mindful of that as we continue here, okay? But Naya, I do appreciate you asking that question. All right. So, ladies and gents, in the first period, we are good to go today. Amira, if you're in here for second period, you're a tad bit early.
Out there, she just come to class.
So
Who Dickie?
I'm
Why you
gonna
gotta,
end.
why you gotta, yo,
All right.
relax, see? It's cool. I don't want no smoke.
Well, then don't be putting smoke out there.
Yo, AV.
Tell him again, Mr. V. Tell him again.
So what y'all want to do? Let me know. Like,
All right,
I
y'all.
want all the smoke,
say no more. I'm down west with it right now.
First period.
and I'm down to pee with it right now.
First period, I'm gonna end the chat. If you're in here for second period, give me about 5 minutes, and then I'll start. All right. Thank you guys. Good job today.